feels like a battleground nowadays, like social media. I don't know if you guys have ever slipped in to your detriment into any of those kind of social media wars and any of the topics, but I know Twitter traditionally has kind of been the worst, but TikTok was not a happy place for like a couple months either, just in between everything else that was kind of happening. It's almost like it felt like if you could win the online battle, it kind of just meant that your side, whatever you were representing, just like had won. If you were able to like shut down and just, you know, abuse as many people as you could in 120 characters. Have you guys ever been drawn in to any of those social media beefs?
No. No. No, I don't really use Twitter at all. I just can't be bothered with that, to be honest. Yeah.
Now with me, it's just hard to navigate. Like, I don't know what's going on, so I just leave it there.
Yeah.
But I've never been in a social media beef, man. Like, it's not worth my time most of the time.
Yeah.
I'm more of like, I'm less on the internet most of the time. Like, people, like, if someone wants to message me right now, they'll probably get on Snap, like, they'll probably get a reply back in like 2 days. It's not like, oh, I'm just looking at it and airing it. I'm just not there. That's the thing. Like, I like to just keep myself to myself and then just chill.
There's dying breed, boy. Love, how about you?
I think I'm in between. I would say some days I'm a social media person and some other days I'm like, oh, you know what? 1 week I'm not going online. But I don't know how to put it. I think the thing is, Nigerian social media is a bit weird because they can be so, I would say they're savages, because sometimes you go online and you just want to laugh about everything. You just go like, we have like lots of like such bloggers. When you go on their pages, you read people's comments, you're like, oh my God. And like you said, Twitter is like number one. People are so mean. They literally just come for you for nothing. You get, and then like, for instance, the celebrities in Nigeria, some of them just, you know, act like they're not human beings. So when you get to them, they just say whatever, God bless you, or they let it go. But there's some of them that I think some days you just woke up at the wrong side of their bed. So they're like, you know what? Today I have your time. And then it's like that fight, you know? So I've never really been like involved particularly in a social media fight because like he was saying, Abel, I hope I pronounced it well. Sometimes you don't really have, Abdul, yeah?
You know what? You can call me Gene, either one.
Gene, okay, that's
yeah.
sorry.
People struggle saying Abdul, so
you change your name in the middle of the podcast. What is that?
You know what it is? Gene is part of
what we're doing there.
A lot of people don't know it, but some people call me Gene, some people call me Abdel.
Okay, Jen. Okay, I like that one. So I think it's just, you know, you need to have that time to really go over a social media fight because people would attack you from all corners. So it's like a competition. One person says this, the other one goes down, and everyone is trying to sound all like, everyone's trying to be a savage, basically. So it's like, let the best man win. So you must really have time to, you know, face all of that social media issues.
You know what it is? I actually agree to that here because my mom is always on Facebook here and I'll be sitting next to her. All I hear is just beef, like people just fighting and talking stuff. Like, it's just these celebrities and stuff, like in Ghana, and because I'm from Ghana, but you see everyone just cussing everyone out for no reason. Like, rumors and stuff, bro. It's just mad that. But no, that's why I just don't like social media like that. I'm more of like, if you want to link up, just link up, meet, talk. I'll go back to my yard, chill.
Yeah, I mean,
but there's some days that I'm full on internet, like I'm not really active sometimes, but sometimes I'm just like, nah, can't be asked.
I guess because we're kind of talking on a micro level, but on like a macro level, I just feel like I don't know exactly what will cause the next like world war, but I just know that social media will be deeply involved, like somehow. I saw like
that's true.
He's starting his own social media organization as well. And then like on Rumble now, because of YouTube restrictions, I don't know if we're aware of this, but so there's a lot of people that feel like YouTube are quite left now, in terms of they shouldn't have political views because we're talking about like an app, but you know how it is. Behind it, controlling what does get banned, what doesn't get banned, there's human beings doing stuff. And so there's a lot of people that feel like it's quite left. So if you're on the right, quote unquote, conservative, all of that stuff, like Rumble, I shouldn't be saying this on YouTube, should I? Rumble is like...
get cancelled.
The go-to like new video app has been like Rumble. So like for the kind of like fascist keywords, like right wing, probably another keyword there. Those groups are kind of all going over there. And it just feels like, even though this thing I think was genuinely supposed to bring people together, I think it just seems like it started going the opposite direction now, where we're like living in pockets and that kind of thing. Did you have any views or fears in terms of that, Chloe?
You know what? Yeah, I think social media can be such a good tool to get your word out there, whatever you want to say. The difference between that and what we were saying earlier about the mainstream media is you can portray it however you want to portray it. So if you're trying to protest online, then you can put what you want out. But then there's also the other side of you're putting what you want out. So then it's kind of scary what like the younger generations who are probably way younger than the age as well that are allowed online but are using social media, what they're hearing and what they're learning. They probably don't watch the news. They're probably learning all their stuff through social media. So you've got that, like, that's kind of scary as well, because they're forming an opinion on stuff that could be either could be made up or very like one-sided. So yeah, I think it definitely can, you're right, sort of pull people apart. But then you also see these communities forming online. So in some respects, like, you do you. If you want to be like, you know, agreeing with those people, then it is a good way to connect with people in that sense. It's when they go against each other, isn't it? But then it kind of can all blow up. And like we've seen it with, celebrities or, political views and stuff, I guess on Twitter, particularly with the political stuff. And I don't really know that much about this new video platform, but it's an interesting concept that something that's meant to be like computer generated definitely isn't, because obviously it is humans at the end of the day. But I definitely think it can cause issues as well as good.
Yeah, and Jordan, how do you feel about the algorithms themselves? Like Chloe was saying, with the computer generated side, like, I don't know how aware we are, but in this day and age, what we all see on the internet is totally different. If we all type in the same search terms, we'll all get different outcomes just based on our previous search history and cookies and things like that, you know? So just for example, as a simple point, take Boris Johnson. If I've been looking at things that are anti-Boris Johnson and typing his name, I'm going to get a bunch of stuff to support my perspective. Jordan, if you've been looking at pro-Boris Johnson stuff, you're going to get a bunch of further results that are going to back up your feelings. So what's your response to that as a thing that we now live with?
Yeah, I mean, it is quite crazy. And is the word echo chamber, is that the right use of that? Where it's like, as you're saying, it's just like everyone's views are very magnified and you keep kind of going down this rabbit hole of more and more kind of political views that are sort of very suggestive to you. I think it kind of, again, I think it just comes back to it's kind of separating us more and more rather than uniting us. And I think in a strange way, I thought that actually like COVID would have actually brought us a lot closer together, because I think we'd have all thought like we're all human beings and stuff, and we're trying to fight a global pandemic. But I think it's kind of really highlighted how much segregation there still is just between humans as a general thing. But I think the culture is changing quite a lot. and I think so is social media. And I think they're both kind of over the years going to change more and more. And I actually think that a lot of these kind of echo chambers will start to just sort of disappear a bit more, because I think that people are starting to wake up to the actual facts a lot better than just sort of being fed a load of stuff that isn't quite true. But I do think that we're probably going to do a lot more stupid stuff to realize that actually, yeah, we keep going down these random echo chambers and believing this, this, and this. And it kind of gets us into some sticky situations like, for example, Brexit. But I think that we are learning from that and understanding that not many people had the right facts and the right information. So hopefully the next time something like this comes around, hopefully people will be a bit more, I was going to say woke to it, but I didn't know what else to say. But yeah, I think it's an interesting like concept, and I don't. It's quite difficult to see how it's going to like pan out. It's either going to segregate us even more, or we're kind of just going to wake up and realize that actually this is stupid and a bit weird. But we'll see what happens, really.
Yeah, I think you're more of an optimist than I am.
Yeah.
I think this only goes one way. Whenever you look at human history, it's like things had to go like catastrophically bad, and then afterwards, once one side's done the best murdering, they're like, whoa, you know, that was pretty bad, huh? Let's try and make sure that never happens again. Type thing is a general course of human history.
But would you say that technology is advancing even further, so that there's a lot of people in those positions that we're definitely getting like taken advantage of and not understanding what was going on? Like, for example, like the World War, for example, there, like, it was just like, oh, there's an enemy that's coming to attack us. So we all had to just go out but if we had like social media, we'd start to realize like what's going on a lot quicker. And so therefore people could make their own like judgments and choose their own sort of destiny, if you will.
Yeah, I guess the only reason I'd be anti is you wouldn't have the range of information necessary to make your choice. Whereas this is where I think the smarting up thing comes in. Unless you actively and really, really actively seek an opposing point of view, then it's just kind of not going to happen. So if like the French are going to attack, just based on your geolocation, all of it's going to be about, British interests and everything else. And the French, based on their location, everything's going to be about French interests and everything else. Not to pick on the French, but there is history there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily see a way out. Abdel, you're smart. So how do we say
I'm smart. Oh,
come on, I gave you the layup. Slam dunk that.
I'm literally the least smart person for man. But nah, all I'm saying is that what you said is true, because most of the time they'll just show you that, oh, this is our goals, and what you see will be the things anti-French, you get me? So it would be like, oh, the French are doing this, French are doing that, yeah. And then when you're in France, you will see, oh, English are doing this, English are doing that, and that's not helping us. But if you were to sit with an English person and a French person to see where both of them are coming from, you get me? To see like both sides of the story, you can literally, that's when you can judge like, oh, this is what I want to support. So if you're in England and then you're just looking at like, oh, what English people are doing to like help the war and like what they want and why it started, and if like they can just say, oh, the French started this because of this, that, yeah. But true saying could be, or English people started this, like it goes way back. But that side, you wouldn't know. You would just see that what's going on now, and it won't help with your judgment. It will just make you judge like based on like just one side of the story, which sometimes it can be dangerous because you didn't know what was going on, and then you just made the wrong mistake to that, which can cause like a lot of damage to other people as well.
Yeah, because the other thing as well is the targeting, because I think I don't want to misquote it. I think it's like one in 8 on Instagram. In terms of the posts that aren't people, they're like sponsored. Because, you know, I think the aim of everything that we see going on in social media at the end of the day is ad revenue and such, isn't it? I don't think there's, you know, some kind of dark overlord that's like, humanity is at my no. It's just like selling ads and stuff, which is how we get targeted. So like the American election and such, it's not like Russia just did straight madness and just hacked everything. And it's just like sponsored ads, you know, which anyone can pay for. And any nation state can do it. All you need is an account on any like social network. Do you know what I mean? If you wanted to do like Abdel is the greatest campaign, you just put up your funds, like send it out there.
I think the Tories do this recently. For their campaign, they were trying to make it look like, again, might not be getting the facts completely right here, but they tried to make it look like impartial, but was obviously Conservative Party doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone like does it. I think if you're bad at it, you're like the first to get caught.
True.
But it has to be like an accepted part. And like Facebook is like even wilder, I think, than Instagram. I don't go on Facebook much because I'm not over 40, no offense out there, people. But
what's how over 40 is just
you did say your mum right earlier, I mean.
I'm not on there, but yeah. It's always there.
Yeah. But whenever I see Facebook, especially, and you know, Facebook is like the engine for like the other stuff like Insta and everything else, like, and this is continuous like ads and stuff on there now. And I think for the layman, like Jordan was talking about education, for the layman, I think a lot of people still genuinely feel that they're just browsing. Like they don't realize that the browsing is happening to them. They're not the ones doing, like everything that you're seeing is being pushed in front of your face. It's not you finding it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
As people who, you know, we're all at least somewhat in the entertainment industry there, do we feel like we can be successful independent of social media?
No, but yeah.
I don't know. It's like, it depends on your method, on how you promote yourself. Because
I thought you were about to tell us there as well.
What?
I thought you were going to tell us.
How? Like how you promote yourself?
Yeah. How do you become? So we're talking about entertainment industry, right?
Yeah.
How do you become a famous like presenter, artist, actor, actress, model?
It's like just post like more of your work and stuff, and then just show like the good sides of what you're doing, because that's what people like to see these days. You get me? How do you show it? Just keep posting that. Keep posting. That's what I'm saying. Like, just keep posting. That's basically like the social media right now. You just keep posting whatever. Like,
but that's what I'm saying. Like, can you do it without social media?
Ooh,
yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, you can. Just put up posters and stuff. Like, paste it somewhere. Give her a business card.
Year 6 posters.
But here's the thing, that will be less successful because people wouldn't have time to look you up. They'll just throw your stuff away. Right? But you have that one person or two people that would just actually be interested in what you're trying to like promote. You get me?
One or two.
Yeah, but it'll help to like it'll help you to be successful, but it will be a slow process done using social media.
Don't you think it's getting a bit too oversaturated though? Like, don't you find it's getting harder to just sort of make it on social media or whatever? Because
everyone's trying to make it out.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Everyone's trying to use it to make it out. So it gets like more competitive. And that's when people start beefing, like, oh, this is what, this is that, you get me? So if we're both doing the same thing and we both want to be successful, one person will go against the other one just to show that, oh, they're the best. And everyone, like, you get, like, instead of like just doing your thing and forgetting about the competition, they'll rather just go after that person and just to come on top. So that's like the dangers of it as well. Like, if we're both doing the same thing, I'd want to get my thing quicker. So I'll just like come against you and show people the bad sides of you. Whilst you're trying to promote your good side, I'll like tarnish it, like make sure you look worse than like what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what people do nowadays. Like, you see musicians that everyone's like, oh no, he did this, he did that. You can't support him and this, that. Yeah. And then you see that and then you're like, oh, this is what they did. So you don't support them again. And then you move on to the other side. And that's just the worst part. Like, people can just promote lies and then everyone will just agree to it without knowing the whole story or like why they're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, part of this is why I'm surprised that you guys are so casual about it as well, though, as people all in entertainment. Do any of you feel, what's the word? I don't want to say addicted. Do you guys feel driven, maybe would be the word, to increase your influence and your standing on social media?
Yeah, definitely. But it's difficult because it's like, to be honest with you, like, for me, it's like, I don't really want to be having to do it, but I do feel like there is now a pressure of like, you kind of have to have an Instagram page and you have to have a Facebook page and you need to post on them 3 times a week. And you've kind of got to hit all this criteria it is a bit like, I don't necessarily want to have to do that, but unfortunately it's just kind of the way everything is going. And then you hit that moment where everything's very saturated and you're a bit sort of like, I can feel like I can post like 10 times a day, but it's only going to get X amount of views and stuff like that. And it's trying to break out of that and trying to produce something that's, I don't know, very different and something that people can relate to, which I think is quite a cool, like, opportunity and something that is a good challenge, but also at the same time it just makes it like 10 times harder, I guess.
Yeah. Chloe, how do you feel? How do you handle your social media and stuff as a presenter?
Yeah, so like before, like doing it for work, I wasn't like massively into social media. Like, I had Instagram, I was interested in like keeping up with my mates and that, but I've never been someone who posts like everything in my life. So only recently have I sort of gone into the, like, I set up like a professional Instagram and stuff. But as in not professional, you know what I mean? But like, it was more, I suppose, connecting with people. So it was like, you'd meet people and they're like, oh, where can I find you? And it's like, where do I say? So for me, it was less like posting a lot. So I haven't really got onto that. So where I present most is on this new app, which is a new form of social media, but it's kind of like changing the way social media is. Because as we talked earlier, I think Abdel said that it's competitive and it's kind of like this numbers game, and you can get into the cycle of trying to get more followers, more likes, whatever it may be, or getting your posts out there and putting your name out there. But actually this app is about creating communities, building them, and having good love's gone. having like creating the communities and the conversation. So for me, that's like my main place where I post. So that means that I've got a good community on there. So that's creating opportunities there. But I haven't necessarily brought that over to other socials because I'm not super keen on the idea of it, but I know that it's something necessary. Like you asked earlier, if you think you can be successful without it, and yeah, you can send off show reels and you can go to auditions, but to stay relevant, and the bigger, like the more work you get, the more you, one, have to post, but two, people find you. So it is kind of like a cycle, and you've kind of feel like you've got to stay on top of it. Whether it will stay like that, I don't know, but I do think it is a useful tool. So it's something that I'm like looking to build more, because yeah, I definitely think it is a helpful thing for the entertainment industry for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the thing. As much as until there comes a day when it's literally turnover, income, and gross revenue are like just widely available for people, I think it's going to continue to be the best metric of value for any artists or any creative, you know? Do you guys ever feel like it affects your mood at all? What's going on your socials in terms of the impact of a post or a video? Or
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it does, but I think that, you know, I think it's been something that I've had to like learn, is to not let it affect me. Because again, as Chloe said, is if you just start chasing numbers, then obviously if your latest Instagram post only gets 100 likes and you're used to getting 250, then you're in that place where you're like, oh, that's like annoyed me or whatever. But the reality is it's not real life, is it? It's numbers on a social media. And so it's kind of having to sort of have that perspective of not kind of like comparing yourself to people that have made it, or you know, your friends' kind of numbers on a post, because yeah, and I think it's difficult, and I think it's something that a lot of people are trying to like deal with, really, which I think is something that is becoming more prominent in our culture of like, yeah, almost comparing yourself to other people on Instagram.
Yeah, I think that's true still, because you see a lot of people just compare themselves to other people. Like, I think social media just sometimes sets like how you live your life, because you see someone doing something, traveling, doing this, you're like, oh, I want to do that, yeah. And then like you might not have the necessary things like just to do the things that type of person is doing. And that kind of makes you feel bad sometimes. And also like sometimes it's so people post something like, oh, example, yeah, oh, people are like, oh, guys have to be 6 foot to be attractive and this, yeah. And then you see everyone just feeding in it, you get me? Everyone will be like, oh yeah, my guy's short. Yeah, he's not attractive anymore. No matter like how good do you think you look, or like how good of a personality you have, everyone will be like going for your looks, like instead of your personality. And like and then sometimes they're like, oh, girls have to have big backs, big breasts, and this, that. Like it all doesn't focus on like the person's personality, instead like it all focuses on their looks. And that's all I think people go for these days. Like instead of just thinking looks are gonna fade away, like you're gonna grow up, get old and wrinkly, that looks will be gone. But if the person's got the good personality, like it never leaves, like it sticks with you till death. But people just focus on dumb stuff and let social media tell them like, oh, what's right and what's wrong, instead of deciding it for themselves. Yeah. But me personally, it doesn't really affect my life like a little bit, because first thing, I'm like, I'll say this, I'm a very ignorant person, so things don't really affect me like that. But yeah, that's just my views on the thing.
And with that said, don't forget to like, share. Oh, good. Yeah, but yeah, that's been serious. So we're giving you like a nice chunk, a nice hour out there. People do like, do share, do subscribe, or like Abdel said, we don't know what he'll do to himself. So, you know, just do it. Just like. All right. You've been watching that Deep podcast. Thank you guys for supporting. We'll see you all again next time. See you all. Take care.